Steal a pencil, I guess, because I won't really know. If you're a good thief. Yeah, if you're good enough. I'll go 7th hour, they'll just all be gone. We don't have 7th hour. 6th. Okay. Quiet, please. Looking for like Haley here? Haley Max? I don't see her. She like moved desks. So. Take it. Okay. Quiet, please. You ready, Bussy? Right. Okay. Cumulative relative frequency. So there's a couple words there that you might not know what they mean, and then they're also called OGAVs. Cumulative means like adding up everything to that point. Like your cumulative GPA is your GPA all throughout high school, right? You got your current GPA, but then you got your cumulative, which like takes into account all of it up until where you are right now. Cumulative is adding everything up until that point. Relative frequency just means percents. And then OGAVs is another, what OGAV means is a cumulative relative frequency graph. I don't think I've ever seen them ask, like, what's an OGAV? They'll just give you an OGAV. It's a weird word. You know, you like say words over and over again, and then they like lose meaning. OGAV. And then percentiles. So percentiles is a huge thing in this class. Percentiles tell you a percent that you are tied with or better than. So like you guys got your SAT score and they had a percentile on it, right? I think. Don't they? So if it says like 51st percentile, then you got a better score than 51% of the people that took it. If you're in the 98th percentile, you crushed it. You got better than 98% of the people that took it. Better or tied. If you got the 3rd percentile, probably wouldn't be in maybe stats class. But that would mean like 97% of people did better than you. You did better than 3%. So percentile tells you what percent of data falls below a value. So like 98th percentile. Means above 98% of data. So I'm going to guess that most of you were above. We don't need to like shout out and compare scores. It's not a contest, but I'm going to guess that most of you were above the 50th percentile in your math SAT score or your overall, or your reading. I don't know. And maybe not, but does that make sense what a percentile is? That's a huge concept that we'll use like all throughout the year. And we'll talk about it more. But. Okay. I thought you were ready, but see, were we not? Did you need more time to finish up your conversation? Okay. So there's relative frequency, and then there's cumulative relative frequency. So relative frequency just means percent. So they're giving us, they're kind of like not giving us the whole data, but they're giving it to us in a weird way. They're saying there are 46 U.S. presidents. 2 of them were between the ages of 40 and 45. So the relative frequency would be whatever 2 over 45 is as a percent. So that's what I was looking for right there. When I was looking around. My calculator. It was like 40 of them, like 2 inches. So we're going to do 2 divided by 45. That's 0.044, so that this is 4.044. 4.4% of the data of the presidents were between the ages of 40 and 45. And you don't have to show this part. I was just writing it down like to show you what I was doing. So for the 7, I'm going 7 divided by 45. It's like 15.5% of the presidents were between the ages of 45 and 50. Yeah. And not what? So, but the better question is why am I dividing by 45 and not 46? Because there's 46 U.S. presidents. So I don't know where you got 50, and I don't know where I got 45. But it's supposed to be 46. My bad. Like this? So it's 46, my bad. Because I even circled it. Right. My bad. So 2 divided by 46 is 4.3%. Thank you for pointing it out, even though you're weirdly pointing out the wrong thing. 7. So this is 15.2%. You still need to shut up? I'm fighting you. No, I wouldn't fight you. You'd probably kick my ass. So it's 46. Do we understand why it's 46? 46 presidents, that's the total. So go ahead and finish the percents there. If you don't have I'm going to be able to hand you guys calculators out on Tuesday. But for right now, use your phone. I don't care. Or there's like the small calculators back there on that stand. You can use those. Like, to be honest, you could just like watch what I'm doing and copy it down too. I don't think you guys need to practice dividing in the calculator. But better. Well, yeah, it might not exactly. No, don't worry about that. Like, it should be like close. But if we weren't rounding, it would. You with us? You okay? Write down your favorite foods again. So, like, now I could ask you, I mean, this is not an AP stats question, but I could say, like, what percent of presidents were between, 60 and 65? I could say what percent are between 60 and 70, and you would just, like, add those two up. What percent are between 50 and, so I could just ask you, like, basic read a percentage. But cumulative relative frequency is going to be the percent at or below. So, what percent of the presidents were between 40 and 45 or lower? Well, there weren't any lower, so that's just 4.3%. But now we get into like the cumulative part of it. So what percent were between 45 and 50 or lower? So you got to take the 15.2 that are here and add up everything that's lower than that. So the 15.2 plus the 4.3. So this will be 19.5%. And I'm getting that by adding up this column and everything to the left of it, everything lower. So these numbers out on the bottom should keep getting bigger, yes? Because we're like adding more and more data to it. Right? So between 50 and 55 was 28.3% by itself. Between 50 and 55 or lower, I'm going to take 28.3, and you could just add up to that, or you could add all three. So I got 47.9, 47.8. When you get to the end, what should it be? This last one. It should be 100. It should be 100%. It's probably, I don't know what it will be. It should be rounded, so it might be a little Because 100% of the data is here or lower, isn't it? It didn't come out even for you? So it might be because of rounding. But go ahead and fill out the rest of that. Does it make sense what I'm doing to get those? Okay. What's up? Okay. Sorry to interrupt your conversation. He thinks it's a conversation, but it's not. So am I gonna get it? So I'm gonna get 99.9. But if I had rounded, but yeah. Okay. So I got 99.9%. I did make a rounding error. So if you had put 26.1 here, you'll get 100. But don't worry about this is not wrong. But now I can say what percent of the data is 60. What percent of presidents are 65 or less? And then you would just look at. So before we had this data, you could add up all those. But now I can just look at it. Does that make sense? What a relative cumulative frequency is doing, adding up the percents there and everything below. All right, now we're gonna graph it. So this is an annoying page break here, but I'm gonna put the percents here, so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. You can just wait till I do it and copy it if you want. Like I said, unfortunate page break. And we're going to make an OGIVE, or a cumulative relative frequency graph, over here. So what goes on the side is the cumulative. Just be careful how you abbreviate, especially that first word. So what do I need to go up to? What's the very top number on that part? About 100, 100-ish. Yeah, true. So 100%. That's 50%. I'm just gonna do something like that. You don't have to put. It doesn't have to be a great amount of detail. And on the bottom, I don't need to start until 40. So if you guys see this little swiggle, where that indicates that I am skipping everything up until that point, because I don't want to go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. That's a waste. So I'm just gonna skip it, and that says, okay, we're starting at 40. You can put all the numbers, but that's kind of annoying. What do I need also on that bottom axis? A label. So those are age. And I should probably put a title before I forget. So I'm going to put president ages. Am I going too fast or are we good? We're caught up? Okay. What percent of presidents are 40 or lower? 40 or lower. 0. There's not 40 or lower, are there? Right? There's not even data there. So I start at 40, 0% of the presidents are 40 or lower. At 45, what percent of the presidents are 45 or lower? It's 4.3. So you don't have to be precise, but like it's pretty low, right? Somewhere down there. And then you're just graphing all this. So what percent are 50 or lower would be 19.5. 55 or lower would be 47.8. So pretty close to, but not quite 50%. 60 would be 73.8, so a little bit lower than 75. 65 is 89%. So I ran out of room, but you get the idea. Kind of goes like that. That graph okay? It's not very often you have to make it actually, but you have to interpret it a lot. And I think like making it kind of helps you understand what it is, so it's easier to interpret. But you'll get questions like this, and you won't have this. So most often on the AP test or my test, I'll give you this next question. So I would say what percent of presidents are 62 or lower? And it's not precise because we don't even have that data, but I can use this to estimate. So what percent are 62 or lower? So I would go over to the 62, go up, and go read across. To me, that looks like about 75 the way I drew it. You guys getting around the same? Does that make sense how I'm reading it? So what percent are 80 or younger? 100, right? Or 99.9 if you like rounded it. What percent are, we don't have this, remember, 52 or younger? Here. 25, 30, somewhere around there. And if I ask you this on a test, I have to be like pretty flexible with the results. Like if you put, so if I'm using 52, I would say anything in like this range is acceptable. If you put 50%, that's wrong. If you put 0, that's wrong. But like I would probably accept 25, 30, anything in there, 35 maybe. Okay, what is, flipping it, what is the 75th percentile of president's ages? So I'm just reading it backwards. Did we just do 62? Yeah, 75th percentile would be 75, read across, go down to 62. What is the 25th percentile of president's ages? A little bit over 50, 51. What's the median? Do we know what percentile the median is? Median's like you put the numbers in order, it's right in the middle, right? So what percent of data is below that? What percent of the data is below the middle? 50%. So the median is 56-ish, 55. Fair enough there? Yeah, it's good. You're right. Yeah. All right, try to answer those two questions down below. So this, okay, before you start, what does this mean in the context of the problem? And you'll see it in both, and you will see it like constantly in this class. So let me show you a wrong answer. Approximately what, I'll just do the first one. Approximately what age is the 30th percentile? So 30th percentile, would you agree it's like 52-ish? So approximately percentile means. You have to explain it with president's ages. So, for example, I can't say 30% of the data is below 52. It's like, what are we talking about? What data? It's like you're labeling your sentence, just like you would label a graph. So I gotta say 30% of presidents are 52 or younger. Technically, I think this is at inauguration, but I'm not that worried about that part. I spell that right. On the back it says when they took office, and avoids spelling the word inauguration. Anyway, try number 2. Make sure you include context. Don't put like the data. What is the data? What are we working with? If you have a question, you don't have to start throwing stuff. You can just ask. Water. Last year I needed coffee after my 6-hour class because I was so stressed out. If you know, you know. Yeah, so 5th hour was not like great, but way better than 6th hour. Yes. It's amazing how much difference like one person can make. Your 7th hour was it's a good thing because I was like done. That's 6 hours took everything I had out of me. If I was drinking this much coffee all day, I'd be headed to the hospital soon. But I try to drink, those big gallon things. I try to drink one a day. All right. So he was 56 years old. Approximately what percentile is that? So 56 is around here. What do you guys get for the percent? Yeah, like 55-ish. What do you get? 50? Yeah, I don't know. Let's say 55. Again, so that if it's on a test, usually multiple choice, and it would be like A, 12%, B, 20%, C, 55%, D, 90%. Like they're spread out enough that you're not going to be trying to decide is it 52 or 53. 55%. What does that mean in the context of the problem? So you have to refer back to president's ages and say Nixon was. This is not the only way you can say it. Just giving an example. Nixon was older than 55% of presidents. Or 55% of presidents were younger than Nixon. Flip that either way. My math is always like the way you should do the math. But there's a lot of like writing and explain, and I'm just giving like my explanation. And my writing is not anything special or you have to follow it. If you're saying the same things as me in a different way, that's totally fine. A lot of you can probably write better than I can. So if you ever have a question about like, is the way I wrote it okay, please ask. Because there's multiple different ways to write things. We okay? Alright, so on the homework, there were 2 questions. One of them was the stuff we did yesterday, and I asked you to do that for homework, so hopefully you did, but I'll find out when you take the test. I'm not going to come around and babysit you every day. Did you do homework? Did you do homework? So hopefully that's already done. And geography section in a little bit, and you'll start having con assignments. So we got. You do or don't? Yeah, you're on a good start. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, how do we?
Wait,
President,
you-
how we found the is we would divide the 2 by 46.
Okay. You can count them though, right? So you can go like, how many are between 0 and 5? That, okay. Remember, hold on, one more thing. The answers are on Schoology. Like, I fully expect you to check that and or look at it as you're going. Like, if you get stuck, very often just looking at the answers, it's not cheating. You're like, oh yeah, that helps me understand it. I feel like in a lot of math classes, teachers hide the answers. It's like, no, I'm not going to tell you. Like, show me what you, like, answers help you learn. That's feedback. That's instant feedback. The faster you get feedback on something, the better it sticks in your brain. I would strongly recommend having the answers up as you're going, and then glance at it whenever you're not sure. I mean, you're welcome to ask me too, but you can't do that at home, right? Please use the answers as a resource. It's not like a hidden thing that like, oh, I can't look, that's cheating. It's a resource. It helps you. You know, I'm not saying work on it. Nothing wrong with it. I can tell you. Can you do this? Send me an email and ask me to send you a link. It'll be out. They'll maybe explain how to do it. But you might want to try to do it before you do it. Because if you go over the weekend, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Like you might be stuck on how to start. Well, I mean, you could ask me because you're here, but you could just look at the answers and you might just need to see that like first thing. Like,